Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Aminurrashid Bin Ghazali. I am IT freelance at Commerce System. My topic is understanding and mitigating internet fragmentation, challenges and consequences.
What is internet fragmentation? Internet fragmentation refers to the phenomenon where the global internet, which was originally designed to be an open and interconnected network, becomes divided or fragmented into separate and isolated parts. This can happen for various reasons, including government censorship, technical limitations, or commercial interests. When the internet is fragmented, it may result in restricted access to certain websites or services in some regions, limited interoperability between different networks, and a less open and unified online experience.
Background 1. The proliferation of nationalism and protectionism makes governments worldwide work harder to regulate internet information. This scenario may lead to the creation of regional internets with their own rules and protocols. 2. Dominance of major technology corporations, Google, Amazon, and Facebook influence the internet. This may lead to people creating walled gardens, which are incompatible with the internet. 3. The emergence of novel technologies, blockchain with 5G could create a new internet framework that is incompatible with the old internet infrastructure. 4. One example of internet fragmentation occurred in the early 1990s when China began controlling internet information flow. Chinese cyberspace became isolated from global networks. Recent concerns about internet fragmentation have grown.
What is the problem with this issue? An increasingly interconnected society makes internet fragmentation a major issue with serious ramifications. Next, the challenge is to understand internet fragmentation and find ways to alleviate its negative consequences for global communication, cybersecurity, and digital inclusion.
Objectives: evaluating the risks of internet fragmentation due to regional differences in regulations and national controls. Furthermore, develop recommendations to promote continued interoperability across borders.
Causes of internet fragmentation. 1. Government policies and regulations. Censorship and laws differ by country. Some governments heavily filter content or restrict access to international websites and services, creating a splinternet, where internet experiences vary by location. 2. Technological differences. Technology differences, like protocols and standards, can fracture systems. Various internet protocols or technologies in various countries might cause incompatibilities and split the internet. 3. Commercial practices. Decisions and practices can divide businesses. For instance, licensing agreements or commercial strategies may limit the availability of specific services or content in certain countries, fragmenting the user experience. 4. Cybersecurity measures. In an effort to protect against cyber threats, countries or organizations might implement measures that inadvertently fragment the internet. This can include blocking certain traffic, creating isolated networks, or implementing strict data localization requirements. 5. Cultural and linguistic differences. The internet's content and services are heavily influenced by cultural and linguistic differences. This can lead to a natural fragmentation as users gravitate towards content and services that are more relevant or accessible to their specific cultural or linguistic context. 6. Economic disparities. Variations in economic development and access to technology can cause fragmentation. Regions with limited access to the latest technology or internet infrastructure have a vastly different internet experience compared to more developed areas. What are the consequences of internet fragmentation? 1. Economic implications. The economic consequences of internet fragmentation are multifaceted. Fragmented networks can impede cross-border e-commerce, hinder the growth of digital businesses, and create barriers to innovation. Research indicates that the lack of a unified internet infrastructure can lead to a substantial economic impact, affecting both developed and developing economies. 2. Security concerns. Fragmentation raises serious security concerns, as it can facilitate the emergence of isolated and vulnerable networks. The lack of standardized security measures across fragmented environments makes it challenging to address and respond to cyber threats effectively. This poses a direct threat to the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of digital information.
Some cases of internet fragmentation across different countries. 1. China Great Firewall. The China Great Firewall, implemented by the People's Republic of China since 1996, combines legislative measures and advanced technology to regulate the domestic internet. Through a series of regulatory actions, such as channeling connection through government-established port and employing techniques like IP blocking and URL filtering, the Chinese government has progressively tight control over online content. This control is by the blocking of over 10,000 foreign websites, including major platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, restricting internet access within the country. The evolution of the Great Firewall has been influenced by key political and social events. The 1999 Falun Gong protest, which highlight the internet potential to mobilize people beyond government control. Despite criticism for stifling innovation, the firewall is argued to benefit Chinese tech companies by limiting foreign competition, contributing to the rapid growth of industry giants like Baidu, Tencent, and Alibaba. While VPN options exist, Chinese citizens often exhibit a preference for local content driven by cultural proximity and self-censorship, even in scenarios where the Great Firewall is lifted. Now, notwithstanding its sophistication, the firewall has acknowledged limitations as its creator Fan Bingxi has considered flaws resulting in imprecise filtering and suboptimal user experience. 2. Russian Internet Sovereign RUNET. The Russian government multifaceted approach to internet control is woven into political, economic, and technological factors. Driven by long-standing national security concerns, their pursuit of domestic control internet, as outlined in the 2000 Information Security Doctrine, reflect an emphasis on regime security amid global and domestic political shifts. In economic factor, the control is toward boosting domestic technology sector, reducing reliance on foreign infrastructure, and enhancing data sovereignty. Technologically, legislative action and the 2018 bill signify an deliberate shift in Russia internet infrastructure, employing measures like deep packet inspection to control and isolate the Russian internet. However, this strategy comes with national security implications, as the fragmentation of the Russian internet is aimed at shielding against foreign cyber threats. This defensive stance extends to fostering cyber operations abroad and potentially supporting non-state proxies, posing risks to cybersecurity domestic. The broader context reveals a series of control strategies predating internet isolation, including the blocking of foreign news sites, mandatory local data storage, and the creation of website blacklists. This measure collectively underscore Russia's comprehensive approach to controlling internet usage through a combination of technical and authoritarian means. Iran National Information Network. Number 3. Is an extensive government project aimed at creating a secure, autonomous internet infrastructure within Iran. Initiated in 2030, its goals include enhancing national cybersecurity, promoting local online content, and exercising greater control over internet content in line with Iran's religious and cultural value. The need has expanded internet access in Iran, especially in rural areas, and has boosted the domestic IT industry. However, it has also high censorship and limited access to global internet services, raising concern about freedom of expression and the potential to innovation in the Iranian IT sector. The future of the NIN remains a subject of debate, balancing government objectives against public opinion and global trends. The impact of internet fragmentation. The term internet fragmentation refers to the division of the worldwide internet into a number of smaller, frequently autonomous portions. This division has the potential to have a substantial effect on a number of areas of both the digital world and society as a whole. The following is a list of some of the most impact and significant consequences of the fragmentation of the internet. 1. Restrict access to information and services. Fragmentation can lead to varying level of internet access and availability of online services in different regions. This could mean some users have limited access to information or are unable to use certain online platforms or tools. 2. Censorship and control. Government might use fragmentation as a means to control and monitor the flow of information within their borders. This can lead to censorship where only government-approved information is accessible, impacting freedom of speech and expression. 3. Economic disparities and challenges. Internet fragmentation can create economic barriers. Companies may struggle to operate across different internet regimes due to varying regulation and standards, potentially leading to higher operational costs and challenges in global expansion. 4. Cybersecurity concerns. With fragmentation, maintaining global cybersecurity standards becomes more complex. Different regions may adopt different security protocols, leading to potential vulnerabilities and making it harder to manage global cyber threats. 5. Global communication. Fragmentation can hinder global communication and collaboration. This may impact everything from international relations to personal relationships, creating barriers in a world that increasingly reliant on digital communication. Innovation and development hurdles. A fragmented internet can slow down technological innovation and development. When developers and entrepreneurs face different internet regulation and infrastructures, it can limit the scope and scale of new technologies and services. Cultural isolation and echo chambers. Fragmentation can lead to cultural isolation as people are exposed to a narrower range of viewpoints and experience. This can reinforce echo chambers where people only encounter information and opinion that reinforce their existing beliefs. Legal and regulatory complexities. Business and individuals may face complex legal and regulatory environment as they navigate different internet law and standards across regions, leading to increased legal risks and compliance burdens. Digital divide exacerbation. Internet fragmentation can exacerbate the digital divide both within and between countries. Areas with limited or controlled internet access may fall further behind in terms of technological advancement and access to digital resources. Impact on education and research. Fragmentation can impact education and research, limiting access to wide range of academic resources and collaborative opportunity across border. Framework or solution to counter fragmentation. Framework to counter fragmentation. Standardization and adoption of open standard. Establishing common standard and protocol across industry and organization promotes to interoperability, enabling seamless communication and data exchange between disparate systems. Modular design and component-based architecture. Breaking down complex systems into smaller, reusable components facilitates easier maintenance, upgrades, and integration with other systems. Centralized data governance and management. Implementing a centralized data governance framework ensures data consistency, integrity, and accessibility while preventing data silos and inconsistency. Cross-functional collaboration and teams. Fostering cross-functional collaboration and establishing cross-functional teams breaks down silos and encourages knowledge sharing, leading to more integrated and cohesive solutions. Unified platform and ecosystem approach. Developing unified platform and adopting an ecosystem approach promotes interoperability, eliminates redundant efforts, and facilitates the creation of cohesive and interconnected environment. Solution to counter fragmentation. Data integration and interoperability tools. Employing data integration tools and establishing interoperability standards enables seamless data exchange between disparate systems, eliminating data silos and fragmentation. API-driven development and microservice architecture. Utilizing API-driven development and microservice architecture promotes modularity, flexibility, and independent development of components, reducing system-wide fragmentation. Cloud-based solution and infrastructure. Embracing cloud-based solution and infrastructure provides centralized management, scalability, and accessibility, reducing the burden of maintaining fragmented systems. Open source technology and collaborative development. Leveraging open source technology and fostering collaborative development promotes shared ownership, standardization, and community-driven solution to fragmentation. Continuous integration and continuous delivery. CI/CD pipelines. Implementing CI/CD pipeline automates testing, deployment, and feedback loops, ensuring consistent and integrated software development. Education and training. Providing comprehensive education and training to developers, engineers, and stakeholders promotes understanding of fragmentation issue and adoption of best practice to mitigate them. This is some finding about the topic of internet fragmentation. Technical fragmentation. This type of fragmentation when different networks use different technical standards or protocol, making it difficult for them to communicate with each other. For example, the Great Firewall of China blocks access to many websites outside of China. Commercial fragmentation. This type of fragmentation occurs when different companies control different parts of the internet infrastructures, making it difficult for users to switch between providers. For example, many ISP in the United States block access to streaming services like Netflix and Hulu. Governmental fragmentation. This type of fragmentation occurs when government restrict access to certain websites or services. For example, many countries in the Middle East block access to social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Societal fragmentation. This type of fragmentation occurs when people segregate into online communities based on their shared interests or belief. For example, many people who use social media only see content from people who agree with them, which can reinforce existing biases and make it difficult to productive conversation about important issues. Linguistic fragmentation. This type of fragmentation when people speak different language online. For example, many websites and online services are only available in English, which can make it difficult for people who speak other language to access information and participate online. Internet fragmentation can have a number of negative consequences, including reduced access to information. When the internet is fragmented, people may not be able to access all of information they need. For example, if a government blocks access to certain websites, people in the country may not be able to learn about important news or events. Increased censorship. Internet fragmentation can make it easier for government to censor online content. For example, if a government controls a certain part of the internet infrastructures, it can block access to websites that it does not want its citizens to see. Higher cost for users. Internet fragmentation can make it more expensive for users to access the internet. For example, if a user has to pay access different parts of the internet, their overall cost will be higher. Reduced innovation. Internet fragmentation can make it more difficult for new technologies to be developed and adopted. For example, if a new technology requires users to access different parts of the internet, it may be difficult for it to gain widespread adoption. Increased cyber threat. Internet fragmentation can make it more difficult to protect against cyber threat. For example, if different parts of the internet are not well coordinated, it may be easier for attackers to exploit vulnerabilities.